There, welcome back to the channel. I had a daily tarot that I posted, and the title was "Slow Down." That there's this like struggle with time just a little bit, and I actually watched it back this morning, in order to figure out and just like program it to be released at a certain time or date or whatever. So it's really fresh in my mind today, and I feel like this is kind of a continuation of that, just a little bit, or an explanation, or um, it's kind of like there is this just struggle with time as if it is this entity, this force, this personality that is kind of like tugging at you, and it does feel like a little bit of like this battle back and forth, time trying to take control, or you trying to take control, or people trying to take control of your time, or whatever. But then this card came out this morning as I'm pulling cards, this time machine. And I just want to read from the book because it 111 on my recording. It has a lot to do with what's going on right now, and we're moving into a new moon. I'd really like to do a new moon reading, this new moon in Sagittarius. And one of the websites that I found some information on about it just resonates so much with me about revisiting, because Mercury is in retrograde too, revisiting an old pattern or an old relationship or old information in order to learn from it. There is some sort of like second chance that is kind of coming up right now. So I'm going to talk more about that in another video, but it's connected to this right now. I feel like this is leading into the new moon energy coming up this week or next week. Okay, so 202 on my recording. The key concepts of this time machine are inherited patterns, conditioning, lessons already learned, cellular memory, honoring the past without being trapped there. We rely on stories we inherit from our ancestors, our families, our culture, and the world around us to construct a map of our reality. As we develop new stories in life, we build on those old foundations, repair them when we can, or tear them down to begin again. The best and most powerful traits and experiences of your ancestors are yours to integrate into your life, so you don't have to revisit their hardships or rectify their mistakes. You have a magical map with which to navigate your current circumstances. Look to the past for answers now. Ask yourself, in this situation, what can I learn from those who came before me? There is an important pattern here that is trying to make itself known, that is part of your journey to separate from and to change moving forward. You know, a lot of us become parents, the parent that we loved. We do certain things according to the way they did them because it was like we value that in their parenting, and there are things that we do just not to spite them, but because we didn't get that from them, and we swear to be the parent that we didn't have, and we learned from that. Even in relationships, you go from one relationship to the next one. And if you are on this consciousness journey, I hope that this is part of your pattern. Looking at the patterns of this old relationship and bringing forward the tenets of those relationships that are you recognize as important to you and are like non-negotiables, and also learning from the way that you did this one and vowing to do it a little bit differently in this next one with a different kind of energy or a different kind of personality that comes along. Like shifting after observing the information from the past. Now, your ancestors are also not just, you know, people in your lineage or your grandmother or, you know, people in your family's past, your family tree, but older versions of you. You are your own ancestor too, and you are transmitting 444 on my recording, this knowledge from the past. You're transmitting the perception of experiences from your past too, that the now you can find very valuable or can say, that's the old way of doing things, though. That's the old way of looking at and perceiving things, though. And it now moving forward, when I operate in my life, I'm going to do things this way because you did things that way. And that was just like left me in such a place of lack. And so I can learn from that and do things a little bit differently so that this now me doesn't experience the same hardships that the old you did. You're also receiving messages from ancestors from versions of you from the future too. So keep that in mind, okay? What traits can I emulate in order to move through this challenge with wisdom? How can I build on what I already know and integrate this understanding? What might I do differently? Sometimes you walk blindly into traps set in the past. Perhaps you couldn't see that you were repeating a pattern until you were well in it. The best course of action here is to rest. Practice self-compassion. Make a conscious choice to do something differently next time. So you separate from it, you accept it, you remove the judgment around it, and just like desensitize whatever judgment you have towards it and just witness it. Like it's a classroom. How can I do things differently? Or how can I choose differently? Or what was the pattern there? What was the pattern? Clarity will come. Remember that if you do what you always did, you'll get what you always got. Or if you do what your parents always did, or if you believe things according to the way that your parents believe things, if you do things, I struggle with this sometimes too, is doing things the way that my dad did things and getting the same situation essentially that he got, that not necessarily good situations, but not realizing that it was the way that he had done things or the way he was, that was his personality that I was influenced by, or that is, part of me. But when I witness that that was passed down, I can witness that about myself and make different choices if I allow myself to witness those aspects of me without shame or without judgment. History repeats itself only if you allow it. The most important thing is that you're becoming aware. You can make a different choice regarding how you respond in life right now. Yes, things can be awkward and uncomfortable as old hurts are revealed and new solutions are attempted. This, again, I feel like is this, it is a rewind to an old situation. This is part of the new moon energy coming in. Taking a look back on an old situation, and I do feel like there are second chances that are there too. To do things again, to learn from it, and it's like you had taken a step back or something like that, and now you're kind of revisiting it and coming back around to it with a different perspective and with different experience in that time period in order to apply a new perspective to it or a new try. It's like separated in order to like learn things separately or whatever, and then you come back around and like wrong time, wrong place in the first place. But I do feel like there is kind of a second chance for, I'm even seeing a situation where a friend of mine was in a certain job and was let go, and then they came back around again, having the experience of whatever they had in the meantime. And she did too. I think she had a very valuable experience in that downtime, that they came back around again and said, we made a big mistake. We made a mistake. So this is what we want to apply to it now, and we really do value you. And I don't know that they would have valued her as much if they hadn't been without her. But there was somebody there who was able to see the patterns and to see what their own role in that was and their own wrongdoing and stuff like that. So I do feel like there are situations like that, or it could be a relationship too, that are coming back around to be revisited, and some of them will have second chances. Yes, things can be awkward and uncomfortable as old hurts are revealed and new solutions are attempted. So it's also like, okay, like in that transition back into it again. there does have to be this rectifying or this healing, an expression of like the hurt that happened as a result of your wrong decision or whatever it was, in order to be able to move forward, like with everything cleared, with like a blank slate and stuff like that. The time is right for change, so keep going. Every step is important. Allies will rally, but in the end, you are the one you've been searching for. One day, you'll remember how your beautiful new story was just around the corner. Okay? That's what I got. One card to get in this time machine together. All right. Love you.